Okay, this is a continuation of Chapter 1, Lesson 1. The book talks about enhancing your workflow with Premiere Pro, and hopefully you've read through all of these different options. We will be touching on a good deal of this during the semester's class. However, we will not get to all of this. Premiere Pro is a very extensive piece of software, and it's very powerful, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. So I will have hoped you read through those on your own. The next thing I want to talk about, and I'm just going to show you one example, is expanding the workflow. And that means that Premiere Pro works with the other Adobe applications, and some it works with more frequently than others. And you're wondering, what does that mean? Well, if you have an audio file and you want to do additional modifications to it beyond what we can do in Premiere Pro, you can actually send the clip to Audition. So I'm going to show you how this works. You can also send stuff to Photoshop, Premiere Rush, which is a short version of Premiere. Some people have that. After Effects, so if you're doing visual effects that are heavier than what Premiere can handle, that might be somewhere to send that stuff. And you can do a lot more with it. It just depends how you want to choose to do your workflow. But I want you guys to see that this is here. Maybe down the road you'll get more involved with it. So I've chosen an audio clip that you can see right here. You can also expand out different pieces of your panels so you can see them a little bit better, but make sure that the one you want is highlighted. So it's highlighted, you right click on it, and then you can click up here, edit clip in Adobe Audition. If it was a video clip or something, it would give me different options, but since this is an audio clip, this is the one that defaultly comes up. So I'm going to click this. It's going to take a moment, and again, dependent on your computer system, how fast these other software programs will open. So it's now launching, and you also have to have them installed for it to actually be able to launch as well. I know we were probably only installing Premiere, but I wanted you to see this. And even with my system, which is reasonably beefy, it's taking a moment to process. So we'll give it a moment longer. All right, so now you can see that little waveform that we had in our timeline has appeared here, and it's just that one audio clip. I can come in here and make adjustments, like I could change the overall volume. One of the things that we'll learn later on is that we don't want to overdo changes in audio, because the further you raise it, the more noise is added into the background. So yes, you can pull out somebody that's talking softly, but you're also compromising some of the quality of the video audio sounds. But you can see I made a change, and then if I went to File, Save, that change would then be reflected here on this clip. So that's the one nice thing. As you continue to work in these pieces, in other software programs, they will continuously link back and update in Adobe Premiere. However, we don't need this. I'm just going to go ahead and close it without saving because I don't actually need that. It also made it an extracted clip over here in our Premiere project panel. I could delete that if I want. I can just leave it because I demoed it. So you don't need that file. So just wanted to show you that, and I think it is kind of a neat tool. And don't worry if you're not understanding all of this. Some of it's kind of new terminology, and it'll be a lot to grasp until you fully are getting a better understanding of Premiere. But maybe you'll think back one day and be like, oh yeah, I can send this to other software if I want. Okay, so next is the Creative Cloud workflow, video workflow. So we made those changes and we saw all that. The other thing is touring the Premiere Pro interface. So we want to talk about Workspaces. All right, so you already saw me switch when I was looking for transitions, and I could have just opened the panel. And panels are any of these guys that have different names. You just click on them and the panel comes forward. So there are several areas where panels are stacked together like this. If you can't see all of them, there's these little arrows and you can see all the names here. Usually down here in your timeline area, you just have the one panel unless you have multiple sequences open. And then you could switch between those. Up here, this is the program, and anything that's down in the timeline, wherever the playhead is, if I shoot the playhead over this way, you can see it's reflecting in your program panel. If I come over to the left side and double click one of these clips, it's going to come up here in our source window. So different panel. So this here reflects what you see down here in your project panel. So that's kind of like your preview area. And then you could think of this as your working area. It comes up in this program area. And it's talking about workspaces. So you're wondering what a workspace is. Basically, it's the layout of how you see all this stuff. And right now, this is kind of the default area for the editing workspace. As you get further along and you're laying out stuff, if you have one monitor or two monitors, you may pop panels out. You may shrink or enlarge them to make them more comfortable to what you're doing. There's a lot of times that I'll pop out this entire panel and it would be on my second monitor kind of as a whole tall piece, kind of like this, that I could just easily grab all this stuff. And that would mitigate me switching from all these different options up here. But these are the work areas that are presets from Adobe Premiere. So if we ever go into color correcting, you would click this one and it brings forward panels that are important to color correcting, such as lumetri, and we will see this later on. If you want to go to effects, that's where I was for transitions, and they become prominent over here. And it also opens up other scopes and things that may be beneficial. You can switch to an audio one, and that kind of brings up your essential sound panel. It also brings your mixers forward. And notice it's switching how you see stuff over here as well. And that also shifted how the timeline looks. All of these have like a reset to default. And you can also save a workspace as you customize stuff. So there's a few more than that was up here. You can go to edit workspaces here as well. So those are the different workspaces. Most of the time we'll probably live in editing until we get to the transitions, which will probably be where we would switch to a different workspace. Let's see. So like I said, we'd come back to opening files, and I'm going to go ahead and save what I have. And I'm going to come up here to close project. When you originally launch Premiere, you will see this other panel that now appears here for you. So we're currently talking about the interface itself. So you've double clicked Premiere Pro or launched it from your start menu. This is the panel that you'll see. And notice this is a separate panel from the actual software in the background. And this is basically a quick launch pad. Yours most likely just has videos about tutorials and learning about Premiere Pro if it's one of the very first times you've launched it. However, you can see mine has different lessons in my recents. So if you have things that you've opened and closed and opened and closed, they will appear here. They'll also tell you how long ago that you opened them. So if you're looking for something and you forgot where you saved it to, it might be here if it was somewhat recent. Some of the other stuff that you can see on this main page is you can create a new project. We will be getting to those later in the semester as we make our own stuff. Open projects, so if it was not in your recents, you could go here and then navigate to the location of that file that you need. You have home and learn. So your home will take you back to this main screen if you had went to the learn button, and that just should provide additional information for you. They also have a feature here for team projects. So if you get into a company or a business where more than one of you is working on an edit, if you're maybe an assistant editor to a movie, you might be working a team project. However, that is a different price plan than what we're all working with. So these do not work on my system because I'm not paying the extra money for it. But it is kind of a really neat thing that two people can work on the same project, and it kind of updates on its own. You can also sync to Premiere Rush. Most likely, if you're in your regular Premiere, you wouldn't be in Rush. The only thing I can think that would be good for is if you were working on maybe a phone or a tablet that has that app on it. It's more of a simplified version of Premiere, and then you could bring what you've cut into this version of Premiere Pro and do all the additional tweaks and stuff. So I think Premiere Rush doesn't give you the full layout. I've always worked in this version, or I've worked in other editing softwares. But there's so many different things out there on the market now. You got to use whatever, the job that you get hired for gives you. So it's good to have some versatility and adapt to those things. All right, so I'm just going to reopen lesson 01_1. And if for some reason one of these clips said they were offline, you would get a box here that prompts you to relocate that media. So if you have the digital book and you are struggling finding some of your media, this one did not give me that error, but I can show you kind of another way to look at it, so at least you'll have seen it. So if I right click on an object or a video, link media might be my option, but for you to at least see something, I chose replace media, and then I could navigate to where all my videos were. And you basically just need to find, when you're looking for a file that's offline, it'll say you're looking for blah blah blah. You need to find that exact naming convention, otherwise you will link something different. So this is not exactly the same panel. This would be wanting me to replace the file. However, if I was just putting the same file in, I would come and find the exact same name, choose that, and say select. And then this would update and come back online. So that's the best I have with that, unless I pre-build one that actually is broken to show you guys how to relink media. If you do get stuck and you're still confused about how to relink your media, the internet is your friend. I'm sure you can search for how to relink media and they'll give you additional tutorials on it. But hopefully you guys had the disc and everything came packed in that nice lesson folder and you don't have to worry about any of those problems. Okay, so we've covered opening the file, and now the book is telling us we should save this as a new name. So you would come up here to File and then choose Save As, and you can save it right into your lessons area, or you can make a set folder for week 1 and put all your stuff in there. It's just however you want to do it. In my About the Editor video, we have covered folder structure if you're starting your own project. With these lessons, having everything in one spot is okay. But as you do your own projects, as we get further into this, I do encourage trying to have the folder structure that I suggested, or at least something that you understand. Because what happens when you just put one piece here or one piece there, it gets messy and it's harder to deal with. So the book asked for this to be named Lesson 01 Working, and I do not have to type the .prproj. I just need to put the name here, and then I hit save, and it will update the name up here. So it no longer says lesson 01_1. It has working with it as well. So now you have saved a new project file, and the book wanted us to do that. And we talked about workspaces. If you messed up your workspace, you can reset it. One of the other things to cover with workspaces, let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. We at least have our file open and named, and we will get into all the steps that we need to do in the next video.